Peace and welcome to the culture right here on the Black Star Network. Folks, we got a great show for you today. First, let's talk about President Biden. It's been reported that the president officially has COVID after being vaccinated and boosted, but he also said some comments yesterday about having cancer. We'll be checking in with our political analyst, Hassan, Mr. Politics Giordano. He'll give us some insight of whether this is truth or another Biden gaffe. We'll have that conversation. Also, let's also talk about what's happening with the Maryland election as votes are being counted right now. Key races are will be decided in terms of governor, in terms of Baltimore City State's attorney, as well as what's going on with the comptroller. So we'll also bring you the latest around that. And tonight is the hearing for the January 6th panel. We're going to be seeing Liz Cheney live and up front. Question is, should we applaud Liz Cheney for her role on the panel, considering she's still part of the GOP? We'll have that conversation. And then later, let's talk about Sesame Place, folks. There's a big brouhaha about Sesame Place possibly being racist. I'll share with you the story around that. And also, a 13-year-old black girl has been admitted to being to med school. The question is, should this be something that we should get our children to attain to or to aspire to? So I'm just posing a question. So we'll have that conversation with you. So stay with us. All of that is happening on today's edition of The Culture right here on the Black Star Network. Let's go. All right, folks, welcome to the show. Happy Thursday, folks. Happy Thursday. And we're so excited to have you joining us. If you're joining us from blackstarnetwork.com, if you're tuning in on our Facebook or our YouTube pages, welcome. We got a lot to discuss, so let's jump right into it. First and foremost, the president. It has been reported that the president officially has COVID-19. Now, the president has been vaccinated and boosted twice. The president said that he's been experiencing mild symptoms, no fever, but he has been having a runny nose, been feeling tired, and a dry cough. So the White House has put that word out to folks to let the president let folks know that even though the president has decided to isolate himself, that he's also still working. Now, the president's health continues to be a big question mark. When yesterday, during a speech, the president made a comment about having cancer. Keenan, let's show that quote for me, please, bro. He said he has cancer thanks to the oil industry and the impact that it has made on his home state of Delaware. However, the White House has gone on forward to say, no, the president had cancer, past tense, and he had skin cancer, melanoma. But the president said, that's why I and so damn many other people I grew up with have cancer, present tense, and why for the longest time Delaware had the highest cancer rate in the nation. Now, this brings a lot of concern to not just to the Democratic Party, but to the rest of the country, especially when the conversation about the president's health has been always at the forefront, his ability and competence to do the job. And now to hear the president say this, many people are wondering, is he actually telling the truth or is this another Biden gaffe? Let's bring in one of our top political analysts here on The Culture. He is the host and the founder of DMV Daily Media Group. And he is a brother who I have a great appreciation for, especially on his political analysis. Hassan, Mr. Politics Giordano. Hassan, brother, how are you, sir? All right. Oh, you got you on mute, big bro.
Okay. Yeah. I'm just right. How you doing, bro?
I'm good. So let's talk about this, Hassan, because let me tell you how I heard. My wife called me and was like, the president got cancer? And I was like, what? How did that come out? And when I went back to it and he said what he said, I'm thinking to myself, okay, did he mean to say this? Is this what is this all about for real?
Well, this is just a look. Those who are in politics understand that this has been Joe Biden from the beginning, from his days in the Senate, obviously as vice president, now as president. It's just, a usual gaffe from the president. He was trying to make a point in regards to the oil industry and some of the chemicals that we see in communities across the country that environmentalists stand up against and fight against. And but the problem was, though, Farajii, he was trying to make a point in reference to him having cancer at one time, but it was skin cancer, which is common with older adults, especially those who have been exposed to the sun without sunscreen in their youth. And so the president's doctor, Kevin O'Connor, actually issued a full health report just last year that, talked about he has no current cancer, but he spoke about how the president at one time, because he was a lifeguard when he was young, that his cancerous cells seem to have been from being exposure to the sun, not from chemicals, which was the point of his speech yesterday, which really confused a lot more people. Like, it's one thing to make a gaffe or a mistake while you're doing a commentary on a particular issue around that issue. But when you try to make that point, it has absolutely nothing to do with the issue. This is the reason why Democrats are running from President Biden right now. Usually the president of any sitting party is in charge of that party. That is the person that they gravitate to, who they use to fundraise for, who they ask and beg and plead to come in town for them when they're running for re-election or running for an office. And yet most Democrats, have we seen this year, during the midterms, do not want President Biden anywhere near them. I mean, this is what you get when you have the oldest living president of the United States at 79 years old, making these common mistakes. And he's going to continue to get even worse as time goes on, which tells me that I think the Democratic Party should be looking for a new standard bearer and a new candidate for president come 2024.
All right, so I've been waiting to have my conversation with you, bro, because so much has been happening on the national political scene, and even last week, I wanted to bring this up because I think that this is a sign that there's trouble brewing in the Democratic space in terms of the Democratic field for candidates. The president has said last week, and we talked about this earlier this week, but I wanted to get your take on it. He said 92% of Democrats wanted him to run for president. He said that last week. Now I'm thinking to myself, is that even true? What's your take?
Maybe 92% of the Democrats from his Delaware home county might have wanted him.
So you got wait a minute. You got to put some conditions on it, right?
Right. 92% of Democrats did not want. If you remember, Biden would never have made it out of the Democratic primary had it not been for South Carolina and a black congressman down there, like Jim Clyburn, who came out in support of him. That propelled him to that victory, which then propelled him to future state victories along the party line. Because obviously, when you're doing a president, they go state by state, have their contest, and you have to get a certain amount of electors in order to become the next president or the nominee for your party. And so he was not 98%, 92%, or any other percent in the 90s as it relates to Democrats. There was a very divided field. And I would hasten to say that, which makes me laugh all the time, that the Democratic nominee, both the last time around and when Hillary Clinton was the nominee, very well should have been somebody who really was not a Democrat, but rather an independent, and that's Bernie Sanders. They robbed Bernie Sanders both times because the party did not want to be upstaged by somebody who is technically an independent, who only switched their party affiliation to be able to run in a Democratic primary, because you'll never become a president running as an independent. But definitely Bernie Sanders right now, as old as he is as well, has, I guarantee, more support across this country than President Joe Biden does at this time. And that causes a huge problem for Democrats, not only in presidential elections in 2024, but right now in midterms, when you don't have your sitting president able to garner the troops, to rally the troops, to get to the polls, to get fundraising for these candidates who are going to now have to, Congress runs every 2 years, U.S. Senate every 6 years. A lot of the senators from there's more Republicans than Democrats, thank God for their party, this time around, that'll be running for re-election. But nonetheless, you need that energy from your president. You saw that when President Obama was president. You've seen that President Clinton. And usually when you have an energetic, younger president, which is the leader of the party, they're able to come to the rescue of many of the kind of no-name, lower-end congressional members and even state party members, right? We've seen President Trump dominating in states across this country, including right here in Maryland, where a Trump nominee out of left field won the Republican primary for governor right here in the state of Maryland. It's happening across the country, but unfortunately, it's not happening for the Democrats.
Right. So how, I know we often hear this term that this issue is going to be on the ballot in November. This issue is going to be on the ballot. How much do you think the president's health and well-being will be on the ballot for even this midterm cycle?
I think it's going to be in the back of the minds of many voters, right? And here's the problem. Republicans are going to be energized regardless. Anytime you have a party that wins becomes the president, and in the first 2 years, the first midterms after they won that, they usually lose quite a bit of seats in the House and traditionally in the Senate as well. This time around, I think we're going to see a landslide that was even bigger than the Tea Party of 2010, when we saw an onslaught of Republicans win. Even in 1994, with Newt Gingrich's contract with America, I think we're going to see even more Republicans than that elected to the House. Now, the Senate's a different matter. The Senate, because again, as I mentioned, you have more Republican senators who have to defend their seats in Republican states than you do Democrats. So more Republicans are up for grabs, and so that automatically puts them at a disadvantage. But I still think, just given the trajectory of the presidency, how Biden is just so terrible, and the economy is always the number one issue. You can talk about education, you can talk about crime, but it always comes down to people's pocketbooks. How do I feel my pockets right now? Right now, the economy is teetering on the brink of collapse, if not, a recession. And so that does not bode well for the party in charge, which is Democrats. And with a president who is not as strong as somebody like a Bill Clinton or Barack Obama, you have somebody who people are questioning, can he even last until 2024? That does not bode well for Democrats across the board.
All right, folks, let me get a couple of your comments. Folks are checking in on our streaming platforms to share their thoughts on this as we talk to Hassan, Mr. Politics Giordano, about the president's health and well-being and the impact that it's going to make it on midterm elections. What do you say, folks, to my culture crew, my online culture crew? What do y'all say about this situation? All right, let's go to Giselle. Ariel, let's start posting these. Giselle, thank you for checking in. Good to hear from you. You said Bernie has so much support online, but they don't come out to vote in huge numbers. I don't know. Hassan, I don't know.
I don't know what she's been watching. They come out.
I'm going to say a lot of people come out. I think a lot of people be feeling the burn now. They feel the burn. They come out. Yeah, I don't know. But see, here's the thing. And we had this conversation a little bit earlier this week, Hassan. But one of the things about Bernie Sanders, this is something that I said, stop trying to make him out to be the kooky, crazy uncle at the family barbecue. You know what I'm saying? Like, really, we only, and as Black people, I think we often have just been kind of conditioned to only think Republican and Democrat, right? And then the moment somebody says something like socialism, the moment somebody says something like, we need to, uproot capitalism, it's like, people start to get like, oh, no, see, he's crazy. It never worked. And it's like, right. We're at a place in this country, if no other period of this time, like this country can go in so many different directions. And we're seeing it happen where people are kind of falling into these sects and various parties within these larger parties. It's like, when are we going to actually start to entertain new ideas, political ideas? When do we actually start to look at the system and say, you know what, this system is not working well for all of the people and all of the interests that we have in this country. let's start to see, okay, we may not have to take on all of Bernie Sanders' ideas, but at the end of the day, we should consider at least some of them to bring some level of equity, some level of justice. And in my research, and tell me if I'm wrong on this, Hassan, Bernie's been doing this work for a very long time. Understanding the work of civil rights, the power of justice work, social justice work. So I'm a little bit, I always get a little frustrated when people like automatically like write his ideas off. Yes, I can get it. He's an older white man, but that does not define the ideas that he puts on the table. What's your take?
Absolutely not. And he has, I don't subscribe to his kind of left-wing social agenda, but I do at least respect the work that he's put in and the level of intellect that him and his followers put forth, because that is something that we've gotten away from in this country. It's partly, I say, blamed on social media as well. It's my way or the highway. I don't even want to consider what you may feel or what you may think is best.
Right.
If you don't agree with what I agree with, to hell with you. And that's, unfortunately, the way we've seen news, Fox News and others kind of perpetuate that now. It's no longer about unbiased news. It's about a policy-driven, agenda-driven news coverage. And that's what you see. It's here's what we're going to push down your throat, and you're going to either digest it or spit it out. But there is no in between. And, if you see back in the country, back in the 70s and 80s, these were times where Republicans can win in Democratic states and vice versa, right? We see, because both sides of the aisle, it wasn't a sin for them to work together. Liz Cheney and those individuals, they would prosper back in the 80s and the Reagan eras and stuff, because it was okay for both parties. Matter of fact, you would get elected if you were that type of Republican or that type of Democrat that can reach across the aisle and work on compromise, because that's what politics is. It's the art of compromise. How do I get what I want? You get what you want, and we all be happy. Unfortunately now, and this is what you're seeing playing out a lot in these party primaries across the country, primaries are far different from general elections. Primaries are about their party, and it's about the left wing of the Democrats coming out and really the right wing of the Republican Party these days coming out. And then we get the candidates that we get, and you're like, geez, where did they get this person from? It's because the middle of the party no longer has a voice, and there's no compromise being done.
Absolutely. Brother Kingley, you checked in. You said, I want to see young brothers and young sisters run for national political office. I'm tired of folks my age and older holding power. Well, here's my take on this, Hassan. You and I have worked together in these spaces of trying to get new faces, fresh faces into political office. I hear people talk about it. People just don't agree with it. I'm sorry. People just don't trust that a 40-year-old or a 30-year-old running for national political office is going to do the work that a 60 or 70-year-old may do, or a 50-year-old may do. I just don't see that.
And the sad part is, even in like places like Baltimore, we just elected a very young group of city council members, right? And me and you worked on the youth movement for many of years, and we argued that point, that young leadership, we need that. Too many old people are standing there till they die. And then you get all these young leaders in office who are now not responsive as we wanted them to be. So now they're looking at us like, okay, we put in the people you said you wanted to get in there, and then they get in there and they feel like they're entitled. Like that's all they needed to do was win, but they're not putting the work in. And then so that gives a bad name to the young leaders that we want to get in there to get the job done. And that's not for everybody, but we started to see that more. A younger generation, I guess you call them the Y, the Z, I don't know what generation. We were that Generation X. I don't know. Right. But this younger generation does not like to put in work. It feels they're almost like it's an entitlement. Like all I got to do is get there to the mountaintop, but I ain't got to do no work to actually get there. And that is a sad commentary on the next leadership of this country.
Absolutely. Janae checked in and said, look, stop. Bernie, who is technically the same age as Biden, why all the ageism? We all gonna wish no one is hating on you when you get to be 70 plus wanting to work. Be careful with all of this talk. Janae, you a loyal watcher, you loyal supporter. I disagree. The fact is, it's not about hating on 70 plus years old. For me, it's not that. It's look, I always tell people, look at President Obama when he started and look at his hair as he ended, right? That is a sure sign. Being president of the United States is the one, it has to be the most stressful, if it's not the most stressful, one of the top 3 most stressful jobs you can ever have in this world, right? Especially at a time like this. We're talking about handling crisis after crisis, handling all of these issues, dealing with all these different people coming at you, their interests. You have to have the mind, the body, and the spirit to handle all of that, to take on that great weight and burden. You really do. And personally,
and not be falling asleep during
not falling asleep. And this is look. I mean, let's keep it real. They're not falling asleep. When you're president of the United States, yours and Hassan, you know better than me. You've worked with candidates, you work with state and local politicians. That's a grueling schedule. They don't wake up at 8 in the morning and just, let me just take, get an hour. No, they're up at 4 or 5 in the morning each and every day. When everybody else is vacationing, they're working. I mean, it's a grueling lifestyle. I'm talking about you keeping that up 4 years straight, dealing with crisis, dealing with this, dealing with that. Why would you want to put yourself through that if you're at 75 years old? I mean, I just don't understand that personally. Like at that time,
it's all about the power, brother.
I just
all about the power. Think about this, and this is a kid asked me this, my own son, and I think most people will ask you this if they pay attention. My son said, "Daddy, why do somebody raise millions of dollars in campaigns, almost $1 billion for the Obama campaign, only to get paid $250,000 or so for every year for 4 years in the office? Like, why don't you just raise the money and keep it?" Like, that was his question. Like, wouldn't that make more sense? You're a millionaire now. So it shows you it's not about the money, it's about the power. You are now the most powerful man in the world, not just the country, the world. We are the leader of this world, right? Of this year. And so when you're the president of the United States, I don't care how old you are, how much sleep you're going to get. You don't care, because now you're in the history books. Now you have, secret protection for the rest of your life, mind you. But you really don't have to pay for anything. And so politics is not so much about the salary that you see. It's about what you don't see, the things and the benefits that they get on the back end that the American people might not agree with. But at the end of the day, you don't like the sausage making process either. But you're okay with the laws once they get passed, as long as they benefit you. So I say to people all the time, man, you can't have it both ways.
No, you can't have it. So as we wrap up this part of the conversation, Hassan, do you foresee, are we out of this cancer talk with the president at this point? Do you think that the White House has cleared it up?
Yeah, and I think they're gladly clear it up and will gladly get past this quick, fast, in a hurry, right? This is yet another, look, it was just last year, I think it was, where the president was talking last September about the trip that he had to Israel and all that, and they were like, the people come like, hold on, you never came here. And then the White House had to clean that up. Like, oh, no, that was a phone conversation that he had. See, and that's what we're talking about with age. It's not ageism, but when you get a certain, I don't care who you are, you start losing the faculties you once had when you were 20 and 30 and 40 years old. It's just, that's life, right? That's how we were built.
Bro, if you would have asked me what I ate for dinner 2 weeks ago or 2 days ago, I'll be like, I have the slightest idea. I mean, when you moving around so much, man, you're not thinking about, like, I can get it. If you're going from one side of the country to another side of the country is jarring because of the time zone. Can you imagine going from this country to another country in a different time zone? Then you coming back home, then you in this state, and then you're like, man, I don't know what day it is, bro.
Exactly. Especially during the campaign process, because people realize when you're running for president, you have to go around. I mean, literally, and I've been on that. You have to go from state to state, and we went on 4 different states in one day within a matter of 6 hours. Can you imagine getting on a plane, jet setting there, just that, and then you got to get in cars, ride from place to place to put. Like, it is a very grueling process, not for the faint of heart.
No, sir, not at all. I think we did have, I don't know if it was President Obama or it was recently where a guy came out and was like, hey, good morning, this city, and he was in the wrong city. It was just like,
that's when he needed a Snickers.
All right, folks, look, I got to take a quick pause. When we move forward, let's talk about what's happening with the last televised primetime scheduled hearing for the January 6th committee. Liz Cheney will be facilitating this conversation as Representative Benny Thompson is recovering from COVID-19. And I'm asking the question, Liz Cheney is seen to be the superstar of these hearings, but should she still be applauded considering she's still part of the GOP? We'll have that conversation, as well as let's talk about the latest with the Maryland primary. Stay with us. It's all happening in the next 30 of The Culture right here on the Black Star Network. We'll be back.
Don't you think it's time to get wealthy? I'm Deborah Owens, America's Wealth Coach, and my new show on the Black Star Network focuses on the things your financial advisor or bank isn't telling you. So watch Get Wealthy on the Black Star Network.
Pull up a chair, take your seat. The Black Tape with me, Dr. Greg Carr, here on the Black Star Network. Every week, we'll take a deeper dive into the world we're living in. Join the conversation only on the Black Star Network.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jackie Hood Martin, and I have a question for you. Ever feel as if your life is teetering and the weight and pressure of the world is consistently on your shoulders? Well, let me tell you, living a balanced life isn't easy. Join me each Tuesday on Black Star Network for A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie. We'll laugh together, cry together, pull ourselves together, and cheer each other on. So join me for new shows each Tuesday on Black Star Network, A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie.
It's time to be smart.
Roland Martin's doing this every day.
Oh, no punches!
Thank you, Roland Martin, for always giving voice to the issues.
Look for Roland Martin in the whirlwind, to quote Marcus Garvey again.
The video looks phenomenal, so I'm really excited to see it on my big screen.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
See, this difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
I got to defer to the brilliance of Dr. Carr and to the brilliance of the Black Star Network.
I am rolling with Roland all the way.
Honored to be on a show that you own. A black man owns the show.
Folks, Black Star Network is here.
I'm real revolutionary right now. Roland was amazing on there.
Stay black. I love y'all.
I can't commend you enough about this platform that you've created for us to be able to share who we are, what we're doing in the world, and the impact that we're having.
Let's be smart. Bring your eyeballs home.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared.
You dig?
All right, Culture Crew, tonight is the last televised hearing for the January 6th committee. And tonight is going to focus all again square on to former President Donald Trump. Now, who is going to be leading the charge on this committee will be Representative Liz Cheney, the Republican representing the state of Wyoming. Because as Benny Thompson, who serves as the head of the committee, he is recovering from COVID-19. There will be some videotape remarks from Representative Thompson, but Liz Cheney will be taking the committee through the process this evening. And many people are looking at how these committees have created a persona of Liz Cheney, showing her to be one that is both thoughtful, one that has been purposeful, and one that is showing that she is serious about pinning the tail on Donald Trump for not just what happened on January the 6th, but sure to tell the story that he is unfit to be president ever again. Now, as a result of that, Liz Cheney has suffered tremendously within her own party, being labeled everything from a traitor to those to one who doesn't care about the well-being of the country. But she has kept the path. She has continued to do the work of making sure that the American people are focused on the facts of not just what happened on January the 6th, but most importantly, the facts of who Donald Trump really is. Now, according to a New York Times op-ed that was written by Mr. Peter Baker, Mr. Baker is the chief White House correspondent, and he covered the last 5 presidents for the New York Times and the Washington Post. He wrote an op-ed that said Liz Cheney, front and center in the January 6th hearing, pursues a mission. Now, one of the things that Liz said about her role on the January 6th committee is this. She said, I don't look at it through a political lens. She said in this interview this week, in between drafting statements for today's hearing, she said, I look at it through the angle of people need to understand how dangerous Donald Trump is, and how unfit for office he is. I believe this is the most important thing I've ever done professionally. She also added, and maybe the most important thing I ever do. Now, I want to bring back Hassan Giordano, who is our political analyst here on The Culture. But and I want to get your thoughts as well, folks. So make sure you post your comments. But Hassan, I think this is a very interesting dynamic that we're seeing in terms of the storytelling of Liz Cheney's political career, as well as who she is as a person. And when I was reading Peter Baker's piece about Liz Cheney being front and center, let me just share with y'all very quickly what Mr. Baker said about Liz Cheney. He said, Ms. Cheney, as much as more than any member of the panel, she participated in most of the interviews, and her questioning has been shown in video snippets at times. Her look of incredulity as Michael Flynn, Trump's former national security advisor, invoked the Fifth Amendment when active he believed violence was justified on January 6th, spoke volumes. She persuaded Republicans to testify when Democrats might not have. Those Republicans included Cassidy Hutchinson, a former aide, and to Mark Meadows, who was the former White House chief of staff. 2 witnesses who spoke with the committee shared with her that a major factor in being willing to come forward publicly was that Liz made them feel comfortable and empowered to speak. Mr. Baker goes on and said, Ms. Cheney has also shaped committee strategy. When Democrats wanted to use pieces of Ms. Cassidy Hutchinson's explosive testimony in earlier hearings, Ms. Cheney pressed to save it for a hearing entirely featuring her, believing that it would have more impact that way. And finally, he said, throughout the hearing, Liz Cheney's tone has been purposefully restrained, where Mr. Schiff delivered righteous prosecutorial oratory during Mr. Trump's first impeachment trial, and Mr. Jamie Raskin, offered engrossing professorial storytelling during the second. Ms. Cheney has favored the just the facts approach of a litigator. Mm-hmm. What's your take, Liz Cheney, the role she's plays on this January 6th committee, and more importantly, should she be applauded, considering she's still part of the GOP?
Well, that has nothing to do with her being a part of the GOP. It
has everything to do with go ahead, brother.
That's her party, right? That's where she grew up, in the Republican Party. She believes in the principles of at least the Republican Party of her daddy, Dick Cheney. I don't know if she believes in the principles of this Republican Party and following Trump around and kissing his tail with everything he does. And I think that's what she should be applauded about. She is doing her job. So she's no hero for doing her job, is speaking truth to power. That's what she was elected to do. And I think that's why she's been able to stave off Republican opposition in terms of trying to get her out of that seat, because her constituents put her there for that particular reason. Yeah, you have a far right contingency now who, follow Trump and, God forbid, everything he says and does is factual and they stole the election and blah, 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 blah. She's not falling for it. Neither is people like Governor Larry Hogan here in Maryland, who just said he's not even going to support his Republican nominee for governor because he believes in the Trump lie and he's supported by Donald Trump. So Liz Cheney is doing what I would expect her to do, given who her father was and given the principled person that he was. Now, mind you, if you remember this, when Dick Cheney was way before Trump, he was considered the conservative part of the Republican Party, right?
Yeah.
Dick Cheney.
Yep.
And Karl Rove. Now look at the conservative part of the, you got Donald Trump and the crazy woman Congresswoman from Georgia, right?
Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Exactly. The standard bearers of the Republican Party, conservative Republican Party, are them as opposed to Dick Cheney and Karl Rove. I think many Republicans would get on their knees and pray for the days of old as opposed to having to deal with the insanity that they have to deal with each and every day now. So I think the Republican Party is headed for crossroads. At some point, it's going to come to an implosion. You're going to have Republicans who are more, standard Republicans based off fiscal responsibility, lesser government. These are the Liz Cheney Republicans. This whole right-wing conspiracy theorist type of, Republicans that we see in the Donald Trump era, at some point, the establishment is going to say, look, we're either going to cut off the cancer known as Donald Trump, or we're just going to have to split and make an entirely new party because they'll never become Democrats. I mean, you would think they would become conservative Democrats. They just won't. But yeah, I wouldn't say she's not a hero because she's not a Republican. You may believe that because you're a Democrat. But many independents and Republicans think she's a hero, regardless of her party.
Here's why I say that like this, Hassan. I just think that sometimes when you get these are extraordinary circumstances, right? And I'm always mindful that when we have a conversation about Donald Trump, the conversation, just to remind people, Donald Trump is an effect of a larger cause, right? We understand that conservatism in this country created Donald Trump and his philosophy, his ideology, right? It got to this point. But my thinking is, yes, you can go after Donald Trump, but now there are 100 Donald Trumps. We've talked about this, right? There are a number of Donald Trumps. You're talking about Governor DeSantis, whether you're talking about whoever you want to talk about. And so I'm thinking to myself, I hear what Liz Cheney and I see what she's doing, and I like when she gets to the truth. But it feels isolated. It feels like it's truth in a vacuum. And do you think she's at a point now where she's looking at her whole party and saying, we need to do something. This can't go on, because even after these hearings, or once these hearings are over, then you're still going to have to deal with the Trump political ideology that has dominated the Republican agenda.
Well, she's just like I said, Governor Hogan, former Governor John Kasich from Ohio. Many of these Republicans feel that you're going to have to cut this cancerous part of the party off because it's not sustainable to move forward. It's just not. At some point, it's going to implode. They realize that. They know that. And I had to push back on you. Conservative principles did not create Donald Trump. Racist and racism and racist principles are what created Donald Trump and the people who followed Donald Trump. The dog whistle racism, they don't got to use no whistles no more. They're doing it blatantly. Yeah. And that's what Donald Trump fueled in this country. Donald Trump was a Democrat. He supported Democrats, including the Clintons, for many years. Donald Trump switched the party affiliation because he felt like it was better for him to use that as a way of getting into political office. And he felt that once he became got a little bit of money, and as a developer, most people look at them, wealthy developers, as Republicans. And he switched over because it was beneficial for his political expediency. That's it, and that's all. He does not believe in the Republican principles. That did not make him. He realized that being a racist in the way he is what really brought out all the Southerners in this Dixiecrat. And he said, hey, if he can say it and he's the president, then, hey, he's saying exactly what I believe. And that's where we get what we got today.
All right, that's what now she is there's some concern that she's not doing well in her primary in Wyoming. Do you think she's going to pull out a win?
I do. I look, at the end of the day, you've seen Republican parties just really implode state by state because a lot of them have chosen to go with Donald Trump. And then there's others who are more principled, like Liz Cheney and others, who said, no, I'm just not going to do it. If I lose my seat, if I lose my position in the party, so be it. But I'm not just going to go along to get along on values that I do not believe in, following a buffoon down the damn, circus line. So, I give her that. She's going to stand on her principles because, trust me, she does not need to be a congresswoman. Liz Cheney can make a lot of money doing a lot of other things besides being in Congress.
Well, you know what? I think after tonight's hearing, there's going to be some serious consideration. If she doesn't win her primary, she's still good. You know what I mean? Like we all know that personally, she's still good. But I have a feeling that she's going to want to go into a much bigger space and not just talking about her personal gain. She's going to make a political impact. So I think it feels like she might go in the way of what we saw with Michael Steele and some other Republicans and some of the Republicans you talked about that is looking to say, okay, how do we get this party to be a party that it may not be as inclusive as the Democratic Party, but it might be more closer aligned to where the American people are when it comes to women, when it comes to minorities, when it comes to just telling the truth. You know what I mean? And if she gets to that place, I feel like her legacy is going to be in a better place than anything else that she does. You know what I mean? Like this break from Donald Trump might have actually gave her a boost on her legacy outside of the fact that she's Dick Cheney's daughter. This might have actually redefined. She could be the redefining figure within the GOP.
It got her from out of the shadows of her father.
Right.
You're right. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Speaking of elections, let's talk a little bit, Hassan, about our great state of Maryland. Maryland elections was the primary was just this past Tuesday, 2 days ago, folks. Some of the big races that we were keeping our eyes on has been the governor's race, the comptroller's race, and the Baltimore City State's attorney. First, let's talk about the governor's race. All I can say is, what? What? The Maryland governor's race. Here's who we're looking at on the Republican side. Dan Cox, who is a Trump supporter, has beaten Kelly Schultz by a pretty sizable lead. Dan Cox will be moving on to the general election in this fall. But then on the other side for the Democrats, we got what race is this? This is Brooke Learman.
Yeah, that's the comptroller's race.
That's the comptroller race. Yep. So this is the comptroller's race for 64%. Brooke Learman is going to be moving forward with that. Show me the Democrat side for the governor's race, please, Ariel. If we take a look at that, Wes Moore should be in the lead. He should still have a sizable lead in that race. If he wins, if he's able to squeak out a win in the general primary, this would make him the first Black governor for the state of Maryland. We've had already 2 Black lieutenant governors, Michael Steele, Boyd Rutherford, who's serving currently right now. But this would be the first Black governor. And this Wes Moore is not an old man. He's a young man, young family. What's your take of how his campaign has gone so far, Hassan?
Well, you forgot one Black lieutenant governor, Anthony Brown.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. Yep. The third. Yep. You're right, bro. Yep.
And
thank you.
He actually just won the Democratic nominee. He will be the first Black elected statewide in any office here in the state of Maryland as the Attorney General. He beat former Governor O'Malley's wife, Judge Katie Curran O'Malley, for the Attorney General. So now that he's won that, he'll all but win the nomination in November. And he will be. We had 3 African Americans on all 3 statewide tickets. Again, like you said, no African American has been elected to any statewide office in Maryland at all. Even though we're a northern state, we're actually really a southern state. Maryland's considered a southern state, even though we have a democratically controlled legislature and Democrats have controlled the state since the 1800s. But the interesting part with Wes Moore is Wes is a political neophyte like Larry Hogan was before he became governor 8 years ago. Never held political office, never was in politics. He was in the nonprofit world up in New York and in Baltimore. He wrote a book, The Other Westmore. So he was an author, but he wasn't even really a political activist at all. His wife, however, served in government. She worked for the former Lieutenant Governor Kathleen Kennedy Townsend back in the day. And so she had a little bit of political experience, but at the end of the day, he put together double the banks of everybody else in the race. And most of the other people had years, if not decades, of experience. Peter Franchot, our former state comptroller since 2006, it was considered his race to lose because he had name recognition, brand more than anybody else in the race. It was 9 Democrats. It ended up being started as 11. 2 of them dropped out. And then Rashawn Baker dropped out to make it 8. And so we had 8 Democratic candidates for governor. And right now, Westmore has a 35,000 vote lead. Now, that seems sizable, but when you have 350,000 mail-in ballots still to be counted, many of them coming from the backyard, Montgomery County, of Tom Perez, who is the one in second place, 35,000 votes behind, it is possible for him to catch Westmore and pass him. But in politics, you tend to want to look at, all politics is and elections are numbers and patterns, right? So Westmore won early voting. He won election day. And so if you win election day and early voting, the pattern seems to be you'll probably win mail-in about the same that you won both early voting and or election day. So, Tom Perez's campaign, his Lieutenant Governor, Shannon Sneed, a former councilwoman here in Baltimore, contend that they will make up that difference, that they've counted the votes of their mail-ins. We'll have to see over the coming days. But Westmore would likely become the first Black African-American. And if Tom Perez did overtake him, he would be the first Latino to be elected statewide here in the great state of Maryland as well. So we're going to make history regardless.
Right.
It's just then what history will we make?
Oh, man, that's a great question. Great question. Also, let's talk a little bit about this Baltimore City state's attorney's race. Marilyn Mosby, who many people across the country know about because of Freddie Gray and her pursuits to get those police officers prosecuted. But look at this numbers, folks. Ivan Bates, 41%, who is a local attorney in the city, has beating Marilyn Mosby. The votes are still being counted, and Hassan, you can give us more details. But look at the lead that Ivan Bates has over the incumbent Marilyn Mosby, and of course the third candidate, Tharu Vignaraja, who this is his second. No, this is I can't even count. This dude has ran for office so many times, Hassan. I can't even remember. I mean, he done 2 tries for state's attorney, 1 trial for mayor, if I'm not mistaken. But this is what was the shift? I mean, and I shared with people on yesterday. I said this is the exact same race that we had in 2020. Well, no, this is 22. So this is the exact same race that we had in 2018. But what turned the tide from Marilyn Mosby being the incumbent who has the name, who has the type of brand, who's known now to, I mean, she's 10, 11, 12 points behind.
Yeah, the race is over. I mean, they don't want to call it yet because of the balance, but it's virtually impossible for her to catch up, right? What it is, and I told people that 4 years ago is not 4 years later, right? So 4 years ago, Marilyn Mosby was a first-term incumbent. Many people wanted to give her an opportunity to get her reelected, to give her an opportunity to expand on what she had started, right? Yeah. She was not federally indicted like she is now. We're currently waiting a federal trial in September later this year. She also, you didn't see the numbers the way you see right now. Right now, Baltimore, we've had 300 plus homicides every year. Marilyn Mosby has been state's attorney for 8 years straight. 8 years, and bro. Right now, 8 years. Yeah, 8 years. And it's only getting worse. Right. And so we had an incident recently where a squeegee worker killed an individual who stopped, pulled out a bat on him because he was upset with the squeegee worker. The squeegee worker pulled out a gun, killed him. All of this stuff is adding up on Marilyn Mosby. People are frustrated. They're scared. They want change. They want something different. And they're certainly not turning to Marilyn Mosby for it. And so now you see this progressive state's attorney that most people know around the country for progressive policies now be turned on. And, you know, part of that also is about right when COVID was coming in, she made a policy that she was not going to charge prostitution or any low-level non-violent crimes, drug possession, things of that sort. And what it did was it turned people loose. People's sex trafficking was real rampant in Baltimore, still is. We're one of the #1 sex trafficking cities in the country now because of her policies. You had people selling drugs, open air drug markets. Police won't even consider locking. They'll sit there and watch them sell the drugs and will not get out of their cars because their thing is, why do it if she's not going to charge it, right? And so now you have a mindset in the city where cops aren't doing their job, prosecutors apparently aren't doing theirs, and criminals are getting away with murder. And so people wanted change. And they felt like, oh, well, Ivan Bates and Tharu Vignarajah will just split the vote like they did 4 years ago. And as Ivan Bates told him the other night at his victory party, or pre-victory party, I should say, is it looks like they're splitting the votes with me. You know what I mean? Because he has a commanding lead, and it's only getting bigger. They started counting the mail-ins today. From what I was just told right before we went on air, about 1,800 were cast that been counted out of the 21,000 mail-ins, and that Mr. Bates has increased his lead from what you see on the screen earlier to double what he has on Marilyn Mosby. So he got about 650 votes so far. She got about 337, and then Tharu Vignarajah got about 500. So he's increasing his lead and he probably, because he won election day and early voting as well. So it's unlikely that he won't increase that lead during mail-in balloting, which is really nothing but early voters who just decided to mail in their ballot rather than to go to the poll.
Real quick, Hassan, I'm wondering, what was the messaging that Ivan Bates put out on crime that Marilyn Mosby missed in her messaging, in her narrative of her work, and in her defense of her 8 years?
Well, the problem was Tharu Vignarajah focused, like, you know, with his, like you said, every 2 years he's run 2018 for state's attorney, 2020 for mayor, 2022 for state's attorney. Every time he lies and says he has these polls that show he's the front runner and that nobody else can win. And he made it like Ivan Bates didn't exist and it was just a race between him and Marilyn Mosby. Marilyn Mosby then decided to focus on Tharu Vignarajah and ignored Ivan Bates. Ooh. And it gave him the past 3.5 months to go door to door all by himself, talking to the voters, showing him that, look, I've been a criminal defense attorney for 25 years, very well-known practice that he started here. He's a former prosecutor. He was able to tell him, look, we're going to lock up people with illegal handguns. Ain't no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You got an illegal handgun, you go to jail. But we also got to be able to sympathetic to nonviolent offenders, may have drug problems. We're going to send them to treatment, give them an opportunity. They mess it up, we're going to send them to jail. We're going to give you an opportunity, but if you mess that opportunity up, we're going to snatch it back. He had very common sense approaches that really Marilyn Mosby campaigned on 8 years ago, but got away from. So he basically used her door-knocking, grassroots campaigning and messaging from 8 years ago against her, including 8 years ago when she ran against Greg Bernstein. She pointed to the 250 or 60 homicides a year during his and pointed and blamed him for that. Now, Ivan Bates says, look, it's been 300 plus homicides every year since you've been in there. You know, so he basically used her playbook against her even better this time around. And people just say, you know what, enough is enough. It's time for a change. And that was his thing.
How much do you think her personal controversy played into voters deciding that they had enough of her?
Oh, that was at least 90%. People were just tired. I mean, it's like you're indicted federally, right? Your husband, it was so much news. Her husband, you know, they basically put together this pact so people can donate for their legal defense fund. Now, mind you, she makes $280,000 a year. He makes almost
more than the mayor. I want to let people know the Baltimore City State's attorney makes more money than Baltimore City mayor.
Absolutely, a lot more. But her husband is the city council president. He makes another $180,000, and yet you're asking citizens to donate to your criminal defense fund, right? And then, you know, our husband did some shady stuff with, you know, how her mother passed away and they still used it against the estate. There's just been news after news with this couple for months now, and she just can't catch a break. And people are just fed up, Farajii. They're like, look, you know, the feds got you, and when the feds get you, feds got you. They dot their I's and cross their T's. And, you know, she never came across as very sincere, never apologetic. It was always the very pointing the finger, neck rolling. How dare you come after me? This is a media thing. They're targeting me, blah, blah. She even said it was a racial attack, and the new U.S. attorney that's charging her is black. So it was like, okay, well, I don't understand that, you know. So it's people just got fed up with, not to mention just the crime out of control, but then you add all of that personal stuff on top of it between her and her husband. They were just like, you know what? Even those who like her, who supported her throughout the years, has said, look, I still like her, but she ain't gonna be my state's attorney. Right. I just can't vote for her.
I mean, that's what it is. That's what it is.
Right.
Look, man, at the end of the day is, you know, politics, people try to make it a personal thing. And I've said this yesterday. Look, it's on Tuesday, none of this is personal. Yes, we can hang out, we can go to a function together, be in an event together. But if you all of that means nothing if you don't do your original job, right, which is to get people, to prosecute criminals, to get people locked up, to bring some balance to the carnage that we see in Baltimore each and every day. That partying, hanging out, being, you know, getting interviews, seen on TV and in newspapers and magazines, all of that means nothing. You'll do your job first. All of that other stuff is a bonus later. That's how I feel. Right. Like it's not a personality contest. This is about your ability to do the job. And I saw this coming. I'm gonna be honest with you, Hassan. I saw this coming. And as a Baltimorean who understands little things about what's going on in the city, at the end of the day, man, and I'm happy that Baltimore we're finally saying enough is enough. And
well, we'd like to get Ivan on your show right after they count the votes and declare him the winner. Right.
Look, you and I both can say this. That's the beauty of the political system. That the constituents can make a statement every 2 years or every 4 years to say, we had enough. Thank you for your service.
Right. So anybody talking about term limits, they need term. That's what elections are, term limits.
That's exactly. Hassan, you are my guy. Thank you so much, brother, for checking in and being with us for this first hour, breaking down. I always tell you, brother, I absolutely love your analysis and insight. Got to keep you coming back on, but I appreciate you today. Thank you for being so good for the political culture in this country, brother. We appreciate you.
Always a pleasure, brother.
Absolutely. All right, folks, we got to take a quick pause as we move forward. Let's talk about what's going on with Sesame Place. I'm going to break down to you the latest story that got everybody, even Destiny Child member Kelly Rowland, just on fire. And I'm going to share with you the video. We're going to be checking in with Culture Crew member B Fly to get her take on that. Also, a 13-year-old Black girl has been admitted to med school. My question is this good for the culture? Are we setting ourselves up for failure? Don't jump on me yet, folks. I'm going to explain my rationale when we come back. All of those stories and, of course, your thoughts and comments. Stay with us. It's The Culture right here on the Black Star Network.
Don't you think it's time to get wealthy? I'm Deborah Owens, America's Wealth Coach, and my new show on the Black Star Network focuses on the things your financial advisor or bank isn't telling you. So watch Get Wealthy on the Black Star Network.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jackie Hood Martin, and I have a question for you. Ever feel as if your life is teetering and the weight and pressure of the world is consistently on your shoulders? Well, let me tell you, living a balanced life isn't easy. Join me each Tuesday on Black Star Network for A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie. We'll laugh together, cry together, pull ourselves together, and cheer each other on. So join me for new shows each Tuesday on Black Star Network, A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie.
Pull up a chair, take your seat. The Black Tape with me, Dr. Greg Carr, here on the Black Star Network. Every week, we'll take a deeper dive into the world we're living in. Join the conversation only on the Black Star Network.
I'm Deborah Owens, America's Wealth Coach, and my new show, Get Wealthy, focuses on the things that your financial advisor and bank isn't telling you, but you absolutely need to know. So watch Get Wealthy on the Black Star Network.
It's time to be smart. When we control our institutions, we win. This is the most important news show on television of any racial background. Y'all put $2, $3, $4, $5, $10, $15, $20, $30 on this and keep this going. What you've done, Roland, since this crisis came out in full bloom. Anybody watching this, tell your friends. Go back and look at the last 2 weeks, especially of Roland Martin Unfiltered. I mean, hell, go back and look at the last 2 days. You've had sitting United States senators today, Klobuchar and Harris. Whatever you have that you can bring to Roland Martin Unfiltered to support it, please do, because this information may literally save your life.
Watch Roland Martin Unfiltered daily at 6 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, Facebook, or Periscope, or go to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com.
Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing $50 each for the whole year. You can make this possible. RolandMartinUnfiltered.com.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jackie Hood Martin, and I have a question for you. Ever feel as if your life is teetering and the weight and pressure of the world is consistently on your shoulders? Well, let me tell you, living a balanced life isn't easy. Join me each Tuesday on Black Star Network for A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie. We'll laugh together, cry together, pull ourselves together, and cheer each other on. So join me for new shows each Tuesday on Black Star Network, A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie.
I believe that people our age have lost the ability to focus the discipline on the art of organizing?
The challenges, there's so many of them and they're complex, and we need to be moving to address them. But I'm able to say, watch out, Tiffany. I know this road.
That is so freaking dope.
Pull up a chair, take your seat. The Black Tape with me, Dr. Greg Carr, here on the Black Star Network. Every week, we'll take a deeper dive into the world we're living in. Join the conversation only on the Black Star Network.
All right, folks, welcome back to the second hour of today's show, The Culture, here on the Black Star Network. Folks, had a dynamic first hour. Make sure y'all check out the replay as we talked about all things politics with our political analyst, Hassan, Mr. Politics, Giordano. And it was a great, great conversation. All right, now let's talk about something else as we switch gears, talking about something more cultural, which is Sesame Street. You said, what? Sesame Street, folks. Apparently, Sesame Street and all of its entities is under fire today because of a Black woman who has decided to take her daughter to the amusement park, Sesame Place, right outside of Philadelphia, and had a whole situation. Ariel, let's play the video. Let's check this out, folks. The mom who said that Sesame Place character ignored her two Black girls. Let's run that video, please, Ariel. And I want to show the people what they can expect. Now, this situation here, folks, has got the attention of a lot of people, including former Destiny Child member Kelly Rowland, to go as far as to say that if this happened to her daughter, Sesame Street Parade would be up in flames. So I want to show you the video to give you a sense of exactly what happened, and then let us talk about what Sesame Place needs to do. We're also going to be checking in with Culture crew member B Fly on this. Do we got the video for the? Do we have the video for the mom's video of her two girls? Just let me know. If we don't, let's bring in Culture crew member B Fly as well. B Fly is going to be joining us in a moment. Okay. All right. So here's the situation, folks. There was this Black mom. Did we got B Fly? We got her.
What's
there
up,
we
Farajii?
go. B, how you feeling?
I'm good. How are you today?
You are like glowing, B. Oh my gosh. B Fly is glowing. Okay, I hear that.
I'm drinking my water. I'm drinking my water.
Fantastic to see you, B. All right. You are the perfect person, I think, for this conversation about, racism. I don't know if it's racism, if it's just a cultural, what is this thing, or it's a microaggression. But here's the situation, folks. And Ariel, let me know when we got the video together. But the situation is a mom, her name is, and I want to make sure that we get her name correctly, Jody Brown. Jody Brown took her daughter and her niece to Sesame Place. Now, I've been to Sesame Place. It's a cool little, Sesame Street themed amusement park right outside of Philadelphia. As part of the theme of as part of the activities of the show, like every hour, every 2 hours or something, they have this Sesame Street parade. And as a result of that, the parade, of course, B, you see these parades at these theme parks. It's like everybody gather around and let's see the parade. All right, so the parade is happening. The girls, Jody Brown's daughter and her niece, are out there on the front line of this parade.
Right.
As the parade is moving along, the Latino Muppet character Rosita. And this is why this conversation is so important and necessary, because on so many deep levels. Because so Rosita, the person playing Rosita, of course, in the suit, walking down the parade route, high-fiving the parade goers. Now, at a moment, you can see Rosita's character high-fiving white children, white moms, saying no to some. And then when she gets to Jody Brown's daughter and her niece, she decides to say no and not pay any attention to these two beautiful Black girls. All right, Ariel.
And so seemingly,
let's see if we can pull this video really quickly. Do we got it? All right, go ahead, B, as we get this.
So like the body language of the character Rosita at the time, seemed to go from very welcoming to extremely hands-off abruptly. All right.
Right.
So that's what we see. That's the part that has triggered our emotions. And so in that, their Sesame Street ends up disclaiming and explaining a lot of the situations, and of the character Rosita, also being on the spectrum, and as a result needed some personal time. But I'm wondering, have we merged the fictional character of Rosita and character development, or have we actually put a living person with autism into the costume of Rosita, and now it's a whole real life performative art merger, and now we're seeing Rosita on the spectrum reacting.
All right, well,
here's a moment.
And that's a great question, B, that I think that we need to ask ourselves. All right, we got this video. Ariel, can you play the video of Jody Brown showcasing her daughter and her niece at Sesame Place? Boom. Keep it right there.
Houseway.
Wait a minute. Hold up. And perfect moment.
The confusion.
I don't know which one. Look at the faces of these little sisters.
The bewilderment. Because they saw the high fives and they felt the shrug.
Like, look at the faces of these little sisters. I want you. No, we ain't had to. Just, all right, run a video. Let's show it again, and I want y'all to take a look at it. What is that? Boom. Let's start. Let's just stay here. What the hell did we just see, B? What the hell was that?
We listen. We know what we saw. Okay, we saw.
Look at it. Look, B.
We saw the obvious snubbing of two little black girls. Okay, we saw that, and so do we have the letter that Sesame Street?
No, we're gonna get. I just want people to see. We definitely got the letter. Look at I'm on. This is what I'm on, B. These one little sister in red, she like, no, she just didn't. The other one,
like, did that really happen?
Right. The other one is looking like, I can't believe this just happened.
No,
it's heartbreaking.
So it is, and you don't expect this to happen. But you know, when I was around this same age, I also realized that I was Black in the world in a very abrupt manner when I am totally playful and experiencing life in fantasy and 5 and so once we insert racism from the adult, and I think that's the part that I personally have not been able to see, who is walking in the costume of Rosita. Who's that person?
Right.
You know, because it's that person. It's not the character. You know, it's the person that did that.
Right.
And that's where Sesame Street is getting it twisted in their explanation.
All right, but that's a great point.
Explaining the affect.
Hey, B, you bringing up a great segue. All right, now look. So Sesame Street, of course, is catching a lot of flack as a result of this blatant dismissal of these two Black girls, right? Let's pull the statement that Sesame Street posted on their Instagram, Ariel, because I want to share this. Take a look. This is from Sesame Place. Our brand, our park, and our employees stand for inclusivity and equality in all forms. That is what Sesame Place is all about, and we do not tolerate any behaviors in our park that are contrary to that commitment. We also are and have always been committed to making sure every family and every child has the best possible experience at our parks, and we are incredibly disappointed when that does not happen. Regarding the incident yesterday, the costumes our performers wear sometimes make it difficult to see at lower levels, and sometimes our performers miss hug requests from guests. All right, hold on, because hold on.
Let's hope. How Sway?
Hold on, look, because look, B, you and I both have worked in both the corporate space and the community space, and I know corporate bullshit when I read it. This is corporate bullshit. Yeah. This is absolutely corporate bullshit. Let run the video one more again, Ariel, please, and let me see if the person in the costume could not see the children, because guess what? They did make this. They did see this. Just one more time, folks. Take a look at this. Y'all tell me. Okay, acknowledgement.
And
at that moment, when he did all this,
all of that, we
that's acknowledgement. So you saw the little girl. That's corporate bullshit, Sesame Place. All right, let's go back to the statement. Let's see what else they had to say. This is why. This is why. They said the performer portraying the Rosita character has confirmed that the no hand gesture seen several times in the video was not directed to any specific person. Rather, it was a response to multiple requests from someone in the crowd who asked Rosita to hold their child for a photo, which is not permitted. The Rosita performer did not intentionally ignore the girls and is devastated about the misunderstanding. We spoke to the family and extended our apologies and invited them back for a special meet and greet opportunity with our characters. We apologize to these guests for not delivering the experience they expected, and we commit to do our best to earn their and all guest visit and support. Okay. So you want us to believe that?
Lies.
You want us to believe that? Let me see. Miss Jody Brown I'm gonna put this out there very quickly. Jody Brown said in an interview with CBS News, Ariel, if we could post her quote, that when she told CBS News that when the character walked away from the children, she immediately stopped the recording and asked for a supervisor. She said the girls, check this out, she immediately stopped recording the video and asked for a supervisor. She said the girls wanted to know what they did to warrant the dismissal from the performer. Jody Brown said, I had to explain to them, you didn't do anything. It's okay. I'm going to speak to a manager and find out why it happened. She said, adding that the girls were sad and heartbroken. A girl, look, what they look like, AB, what they about 9 or 10 or so? What do you think how old they were?
Listen, you know, I don't like it.
They know when they being dismissed.
They know you could see it. You could see,
you can
like,
clearly
you know
see.
what I'm saying? Like we as humans have several languages. All right. If we're not speaking out of our mouth, we have body language that we're able to read. So in the same way, we were able to read the character's dismissal. We were able to read the character's joy and praise and high five previously. And we're also able to read the confusion on the faces of the little girls who are obviously snubbed by a character that is supposed to be warm and fuzzy and greeting, you know? And so it's like, and so that's the part, to act as if it didn't happen and we did not see what we saw, you know, negates, like, our experience totally negates the mother's experience. You know, like, she wasn't preparing to capture a racist act at Sesame Street. You know, she wanted to capture the moment where her daughters, her niece, can high five Rosita. And so now we have trauma, you know? And so this is sad. And if Sesame Street is really real, then those two little girls will also have, you know, scholarship funds.
Hey, let me tell you something.
Girls, well, you know what I'm saying? Like, now that we see that a problem has actually ensued, you know what I'm saying? Then, like, we can go into real, like, restorative justice for this accidental slipping racist. You know what I'm saying? It's like these slipping racist laws are crazy.
Look, AB, it's the fact that now a couple of things I want to mention. Since the mother posted this video, there has been a number of other Black parents who have posted videos showing other Sesame Street characters dismissing Black children.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's one. So there seems to be a pattern here. There seems to be a trend. Now, I went to Sesame Place. I didn't get that. I wasn't one of those parents that had to go through that ordeal, you know, because we went to celebrate my daughter's third birthday. So we didn't get that. But it's sad to see that happen. I don't know what is going on with these performers and these costumes. And again, folks, this is, and B said it at the beginning of this discussion, this is not about a Sesame Street character. Please don't walk away from this and think that, oh my gosh, Rosita is racist.
Right. Like, that's not a
Rosita is a made up puppet.
Right. Right. Let's take off this costume and reveal who this employee was. Like, let's see that. Like, if we're going to, like, now that we're in this exploration, you know, of society and people and what happens at Sesame Street and what happens at Sesame Place, then, like, then let's see who's really in this costume. Because if this person, you know what I'm saying, is, let's say, adjacent to the culture that promotes racism against us, then we have further proof that this wasn't just an accident caught on camera. You know what I'm saying? This is really about the culture, you know what I'm saying, of white supremacy that is so pervasive in every station in America. And we all have to figure out some sort of way to really slay this dragon, because it's everywhere and it's pervasive, and we keep on having to go through these same learning experiments every generation. And it's like, when is it going to stop? It's clearly like, I thought that you could birth out racism. You know, I thought that, like, okay, will soon come, there will be enough white children who love hip hop, right? Who will end up being able to turn from the mentalities of their white supremacist dads. But what happens, you know what I'm saying, is the opposite. All right. So it's something we have to figure out a next level, you know what I'm saying, to like really stop this pervasive trauma that goes on with our kids, you know what I'm saying, every generation. You know what I'm saying? Like, it makes no sense. Every generation, like it's really becoming, it's redundant, and we're gonna see more of it because cameras are out more. And so it's like, it's not like it's gonna go away because we're shining a light on it. You know what I'm saying? It's something else is gonna have to happen, Farajii. I have no idea what that is.
Now, here's the thing, and this is to add to it. We're going to get to your comments in a moment, folks, but I wanted to make sure we give you the full elements of the story. So Jody Brown hired a lawyer, a brother by the name of B. Ivory Lamar. B. Ivory Lamar has said that they would like that he and his client want a couple of things to happen to resolve the incident. The first being a formal apology that they believe is authentic and genuine. That's the first thing. The second thing is, and Mr. Lamar said, we believe Sesame Place made a gross mistake in their first statement. We believe their assertions are completely false, and we believe we have evidence to refute that. He also said that the individual in the costume should be fired, because he said, we believe there is no room for racism to exist at any theme park. Then he also said that he wants Sesame Place to take accountability and responsibility for any mental health distress that families would have faced in the park. He said that there is a pattern of this behavior at the theme park, because he said he's been check this out, B, contacted by 20 to 30 families with similar allegations.
See?
That sounds like a class action lawsuit to me.
Which is unfortunate, you know, because that's not what that was not the intention of the Sesame Street brand. You know what I'm saying? Like,
of course not. I mean, we all grew up on Sesame Street.
Highly unfortunate that this is where we are.
Absolutely. We all grew up on this thing, right? Like, we learned how to count, we learned how to spell, we learned our letters. Like, my daughter watched, my son watching you. Like, everybody grew up. Again, folks, I mean, it doesn't take and I think that to put this thing in its proper context, what we see on TV is it doesn't take away from the value that Sesame Street has brought to kids for the past, 50 years of educational TV. But I think this speaks a lot of people. This is a people problem. This is a people issue, right? This is where we are in modern day America, that even at a theme park for children, at the end of the day, people still have their biases, people still have their prejudices, and people can still be racist.
To a child.
That's just where we are.
To a child.
To a child. You see what I'm saying? And let's not act like Black children aren't offended by adults daily in this country. Daily. I remember in Baltimore, we used to go to the old store. If some of y'all might remember the store, Woolworth. It was like a little, Woolworth is an old store. No, they aren't around anymore. We used to have a Woolworth in our neighborhood. And the white lady, I never forget, every time me and my friends walked in, we were probably like 9, 10 years old. Every time we walked in Woolworth was one of the stores that our civil rights leaders had to go and sit at the counters of in order to try to integrate. But Woolworth in my neighborhood, we went in this store and there was this old white woman who always followed us up and down the aisles. She never did this with anybody else, no other children. But when Black children came in, that level of microaggression was imposed on us as children. And we knew, I knew that was like, you had your moment. That was a moment for me where I was like, damn, we Black.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we Black. Because this white woman, and she lived right in the same neighborhood I lived in. So she always, you know, watching us, standing there. I mean, it was just harassment. It was a form of harassment. And we were children. So we're in a space right now where this is happening. But I think that with Mr. Lamar, he wants a formal apology. He wants to workify it. He wants some level of accountability for mental health. I don't know what to do, because we hear about these situations. I'm gonna be honest. Like, I want the apology, but I feel like at this point, B, it's like,
you know, here's the thing.
Now, I would say I want some financial damages, though.
Yeah, straight up. You know what I'm saying?
I don't want no merchandise. I don't need no merchandise. I'm not a billboard. So don't start dressing me up in you know, Rosita gear and all that stuff. No.
Right. Don't put the little girl in your commercials. Right.
I need something. Let's go to this very quickly, because people are checking in. Let me see here. Is this this is let me make sure I got this. Okay, let's go to Belinda Skinner. You posted this. You said, Farajii, at what point are we responsible for whose companies deserve our hard-earned money? If we're being honest, they see our money differently. That's true. I mean, look, and here's the thing about that, Belinda, and I appreciate you for posting this. And I think, B, you could certainly speak to this. You don't know how a company is going to respond until you're in a situation with a company. It's just one of those things. Like, you know what I mean? You don't, unless the company has a history that it is known to Black people of being racist or being, you know, a biased. Like, you don't know. Like I said, I went to Sesame Place. I didn't have that experience. So I don't know.
But see, here's the thing. Once we hear about one, and then we hear about the others, right? This goes to a deeper culture, I think, and Belinda's right. You know, they don't respect our money the way we respect them in their spaces. And this is a problem that has never truly been addressed since integration. Integration made us run to Woolworth. Integration made us run to the white schools, run into their corporations in order to give them our hard-earned minimum wage Black dollars. And that is still going on today. You know what I'm saying? There's still, the issue here is why we respect white spaces more than our own. Why do we think that these corporations are supposed to operate in any other way? They weren't created for us, by us. We are not in their bylaws of intention of protecting. You know what I'm saying? We are not the wildlife that they give a fuck about. You know what I'm saying? Excuse me. And so when it comes to that, like, why do we bang our head on their businesses, begging and praying for them to serve us properly? Like, these should really today be calls to open up new spaces, because at the end of the day, white people do not own time travel. Okay. And the fact that all of these fantasy spaces are still like owned by white supremacist forces are insane. You know what I'm saying? And the fact that we haven't, you know what I'm saying, like, opened up those alternatives yet, you know what I'm saying? That to me, it seems more problematic than firing this one person, you know what I'm saying, who is just the tip of a crumb off of the iceberg, not even the tip. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, why do we want to be in their spaces so bad in the first place? That's the part that we need to be like more accountable for.
I agree with you. I agree with you wholeheartedly. And I think simply we want to be, because we were conditioned to believe, that old saying that white people's ice is colder, their water is more wetter. You know what I mean? Like, we're conditioned to believe that the world is better.
When are we going to accept the fraudulent conditioning? You know what I'm saying? And how often are we allowed to accept that? You know what I'm saying? It's like it's like we're right now as a culture, we're on like 1 day a week. You know what I'm saying? 1 day a week, we're like, okay, we're not going to accept the shit, right? But then the other 6 days, we're still at Walmart, we're still at Giant, we're still getting our gas from their places. We're still totally giving all of our money, you know what I'm saying, back into their networks. You know what I'm saying? And so but 1 day a week, we do something that's less.
Ain't on it.
You know,
we ain't on it.
And so that's problematic. You know what I'm saying? Like we need to, we got to show up better for ourselves and for our future generations if we expect this trauma to end.
Yep, that absolutely. McCole, you checked in. McCole, it's always good to hear what you got to say. McCole, you checked in and said that statement from Sesame Street Place is straight bull jive. Corporate bullshit. It's what it is. You know it and I know it. Y'all know it. It's bull. I've read some statements, but I think this one ranks up as one of the top, maybe my top 2 to 3 statements where you just the person didn't have. If you think about it, it's like the person's costume, they didn't see the lower level. Come on, man. Like, wait a minute, you creating costumes where they can't tell if they're looking at a child or not?
That's crazy. And you know what I'm saying? And so, like, can you imagine the SNL skit that involves the writing of this letter?
Let's take it further. If 2 shows were on air still right now, they would, Chappelle Show or In Living Color.
Oh my goodness.
If Chappelle Show and Living Color were still on today, the stuff that they would talk about. SNL is funny, you know what I'm saying?
It's crazy.
But Chappelle Show and In Living Color would just eat this stuff up. You can't make up this stuff.
I need to be a parody activist because that's clearly the only way. You know what I'm saying? To deliver the message to the people.
Let's get one more in, and we're gonna take a quick pause. Willie Frazier, my guy Willie, thank you so much for checking in. You say the damn shame is all of this could have been avoided by sticking out your hand for 3 seconds. Willie!
Just high five. That's it.
Yo! Willie!
Is that hard?
That's all.
Is that hard? You that stressed?
Willie, that's it, bro. 3 seconds. It could have just been this.
The
little girl said, oh my gosh, I just want to see this hand. All of this could have been her.
That's it. And now she's set for life. And she's set for life. She has joy in her heart. She can connect to fantasy.
Here's the thing, B. If nothing else, I would fire the worker. If nothing else, you cost us money for 3 seconds. You cost us a lot of money, a lot of heartache, a lot of unnecessary stress. You got to go. Matter of fact, you ain't just going, you're going to pay something because this is crazy. For 3 seconds, Willie, just it. 3 seconds, bro.
3 seconds. 3 seconds. But here's the thing, you know what I'm saying? Common sense has never, you don't have common sense logic in racist culture. You know what I'm saying? You don't. And so those they don't work. They don't work together. You know what I'm saying? It's the ultimate Crips and Bloods, Christians and crackheads. It doesn't, you know what I'm saying? Like those 2 mentalities do not see eye to eye, So it's like, and unless Sesame Street like literally drove to this little girl's house in a big old van, shut the block down, had a whole block party, you're not gonna tell me that this isn't a part of the culture of the corporation.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like just real clear. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like but this is the culture of their corporations. And so it's like we either are the ones that have to start divesting for real,
Absolutely.
And that's the part,
And look, I hope that the mother gets compensated. In this case, I'm not always about getting money. In this case, get me some money. Give me some money. And you make it long.
Yeah, because you done messed up.
Give me money and make it long. That's it. I need that long money at this point. That's all I need. I don't need to say nothing else. I'll go to another theme park. I'll explain to my daughter all about racism. But at this point, y'all gonna have to pay me. Look, we're gonna take a quick pause. When we move forward, folks, let's talk about a 13-year-old that's been admitted into med school, blowing them away. A little black girl is doing phenomenal things. However, I'm asking the question, should this be the norm? Should this be the norms? We'll have that discussion up next. Stay with us. It's The Culture on the Black Star Network.
Pull up a chair. Take your seat. The Black Tape with me, Dr. Greg Carr, here on the Black Star Network. Every week, we'll take a deeper dive into the world we're living in. Join the conversation only on the Black Star Network.
Don't you think it's time to get wealthy? I'm Deborah Owens, America's Wealth Coach, and my new show on the Black Star Network focuses on the things your financial advisor or bank isn't telling you. So watch Get Wealthy on the Black Star Network.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jackie Hood Martin, and I have a question for you. Ever feel as if your life is teetering and the weight and pressure of the world is consistently on your shoulders? Well, let me tell you, living a balanced life isn't easy. Join me each Tuesday on Black Star Network for A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie. We'll laugh together, cry together, pull ourselves together, and cheer each other on. So join me for new shows each Tuesday on Black Star Network, A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie.
It's time to be smart.
Roland Martin's doing this every day.
Oh, no punches! Thank you, Roland Martin, for always giving voice to the issues.
Look for Roland Martin in the whirlwind, to quote Marcus Garvey again.
The video looks phenomenal, so I'm really excited to see it on my big screen.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
See, this difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
I got to defer to the brilliance of Dr. Carr and to the brilliance of the Black Star Network.
I am rolling with Roland all the way.
Honored to be on a show that you own. A black man owns the show.
Folks, Black Star Network is here.
I'm real revolutionary right now. Roland was amazing on that.
I love y'all. I can't commend you enough about this platform that you've created for us to be able to share who we are, what we're doing in the world, and the impact that we're having.
Let's be smart. Bring your eyeballs home.
You can't be black-owned media and be scared.
You dig?
All right, folks, for today's final discussion, I wanted to talk about the great work that a 13-year-old girl is doing that is just mind-blowing. Let's bring back Culture Crew member B Fly, who is, I didn't even introduce B Fly. I just say, oh, B Fly is here. B Fly, who is the co-founder of Blackwater Production House. And she is also a film producer and film director that focuses on women and projects that focus on the empowerment of women. But this is something. Here's a story that I came across, B, that I thought this was really interesting. A 13-year-old girl by the name of Alina Anale. Look at this beautiful little girl. She says she want to leave her mark on the world. She gets accepted into med school. Look, check this out. Ariel, let's post that quote about why she says she's qualified for med school. She said, I'm still a normal 13-year-old. She's both a student at Arizona State University, folks, and Oakwood University, where she is simultaneously earning 2 separate undergrad degrees in biological sciences. She said, I just have extremely good time management skills and I'm very disciplined.
Mm-hmm.
Alina, first and foremost, you make me feel totally incompetent in life.
Oh, don't do that. She's just
Alina,
an ancient.
Alina
is an ancient, okay? Alina is not 13. She's 130,000 years old.
How about that? Look at this little sis. She is primed and ready. Now, here's the thing. As much as I'm excited and I'm very, very proud of Alina for doing something that a lot of 13-year-olds, and I mean a lot, aren't doing, which is getting accepted into med school. More importantly, she's literally in college. My cultural question is, should this be the norm? Do we set ourselves up for failures when we highlight outliers such as an Alina? And then we put these like I don't want to say unrealistic expectations, but I just put these expectations on our children. Like, because these type of stories, as beautiful as they are, can also be a source of feeling like you're not enough, that you're not worth it. And I hope I'm kind of sharing I hope you understand what I'm saying.
Here's the thing. The facts are, every person is not a genius.
Exactly.
The facts are, geniuses exist. All righty. And so we have a Black genius, all right, who is proven, and she is on a genius track, and that's what that is. All right. The only time when it should be when it is a problem is if we have a parent, okay, who is with their child, comparing their child to this child and making that child go into a genius track and that child ain't genius. That's a problem. I don't think that that's where we are within our culture. I don't think we have, I don't think culturally we have unrealistic goals for our children. The issue within our culture is that we are still trying to get the other cultures who we exist with to let us still breathe. All right. So when we're trying to catch people up to the fact that we are basic humans, just like them, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's where we are. So let the Alinas rise up, and let the parents understand how to actually recognize when your child is a genius, how to really encourage that genius level, you know what I'm saying? And to, fast track that child out of gen pop education, if you can, fast as fuck. You know what I'm saying? Like, that should be every parent's goal today. So if your kid does have the acumen to also attend junior college while they are in junior high and high school and start getting those credits, it's possible. I know several children who are doing that, who aren't operating at genius level. They're just activated in their natural human smarts, and they're undistracted as youth. They're encouraged by their parents to really go academic. You know what I'm saying? And so
and I agree with that. I definitely agree with that. I just, some of us, and I'm gonna keep it. Let's keep it real. Like, some of us as parents, right? When we read stories like this, then we start to feel like our child is not a genius in their own right, is not great in their own right, right? We start to compare our children or the children that's close to us, whether it's our niece or nephew or grandchildren, and we start to, if Alina could do it, how come you can't? You're 13. Oh, she's going to med school and all you want to do is play video games. And I'm just trying to make sure that we temper the expectation. Like, I love to see Black excellence in children. I think it's a beautiful thing. But to your point, some of us are going to excel further along in certain spaces than others, right? So Alina might be excelling in the medical field, but her social skills, and I'm not saying this is the case with her, but I'm saying her social skills could be lacking in some way, right? She may not be as creative. Like where you, for example, you are highly creative, but you ain't a doctor. You know what I'm saying?
Listen,
you're a healer of the soul and the spirit, but you're not a practicing doctor. You know what I'm saying? So I just want to see how we can temper those expectations.
But see, we as parents should all be able to see what our kid is genius in. You know what I'm saying? And so it's not about making sure that our kids are genius in the same vibration, but it should be about recognizing how my child does exhibit some dope behavior from jump. So it's like, so when we look at Alina, she was very clear. She's like, I am regular, but I excel in time management and I'm super disciplined. That right there is the part, you know what I'm saying, that is the reason why she's able to go as hard as she's able to go, and her parents are able to encourage in the way that they encourage. You know what I mean? And so it's like that's important. I know that we don't throw away any cardboard box in this house because Jazz has to build something.
He got to build them. Man, Nigel, the same way.
He does, and so we encourage that whenever there's construction going on. You know what I'm saying? We stop for a minute and let him really see this excavator. He let me know what an excavator is. I'm like, they're all just trucks. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, if we do our part and encourage our children's natural born genius ability, because we're all born with our own special power, and so it's like, imagine what happens if all of our babies are allowed and encouraged to unleash theirs, and so that's the dope thing. I'm not concerned about her not playing right now. You know what I'm saying? She can play in Paris, she can play in Ghana, she can play all over the world, you know what I'm saying, in all of the beautiful cabanas of life, on all of the giraffes, you know what I'm saying? Like she can play big, you know what I'm saying, and not have to worry about our little mortal Sesame Street blues, for real. You know what I'm saying? Meanwhile, Alina is over here about to be whole black Grey's Anatomy at 14. Like, does she even have her period yet? These are the parts that I want to know. You know what I'm saying? How does she at 13 balance medical school and cramps?
And that's the
how
thing.
Much water is she drinking? You know what I'm saying? Like, there are things I want to know.
Hey, look, I'm feeling the same way. And if you're really old enough, y'all remember the show Doogie Howser, MD?
Yes. Dude, we all wanted to be Doogie. I was like,
Doogie Howser, MD.
She was like, nah.
The 16-year-old genius who became a doctor, a practicing doctor. Y'all remember that show? Neil Patrick
White
Harris
people do not own time travel. They don't own time travel. We do it. Like, welcome. Like, she's 130 years old. She ain't no 13. You know what I'm saying? Those levels, those numbers don't really connect to the Black lifestyle and the way we live.
Look,
you know?
Look, again, my thinking is, let this be the norm. And the one thing that if I haven't learned anything else as a parent, two things. One is that, I have two children. They each are going to take in information and learn different. Right? And I got to respect that, because the way I learn is not going to be the way they learn. And then two, like I was talking to my son just today about, thinking about some issue that he wants to, focus on, to have a little summer project. And I had to dawn on me. He's like, Dad, I don't want to write a report, but I can draw. And I was like, boom, draw me what your issue is. Because he wanted to talk about pollution and rain and all of that. So he went to draw the diagram. Like, you just have to accept that sometimes your children are not going to think like you. They're not going to express themselves like you do. And
they're not gonna say yes the way we said yes.
And they're not going to say yes the way that we say yes. And I think that
I remember the book reports that I had to write, over the summer because my mother said so. And I remember doing them, and I remember not wanting to do them. And I remember doing that. And today our kids are able to say no and offer alternatives. Like, come through. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And look,
that's real.
I want to see Alina there. You know, one of our online culture crew members said, "Hey, look, she can learn the information now, but she can't really start practicing or taking patients until she's at least 18." And it's fine, you know what I mean? But
unless she's in a subway accident and has to save everybody's life. Sorry.
That's
my bad.
That's like he just came straight out of left. Okay, unless there's a subway accident that she happens to be on in New York City and she has to save everybody's life. But the point is that, you know, we are proud of Alina. We hope and pray that she continues to do the great work that she's doing. And more importantly, we hope that this is just a reminder of the brilliance of Black children if given the opportunity and the environment to thrive.
Right.
We don't know what her parents have done. You know, we don't know that. But if she's taking this, obviously her parents are behind her 100%, or her family, you know, schools believe in her. This is the power of belief when you believe the child that's in your life, that they can start to break out of the mold. They can become something that you never thought you can become at a much earlier age. But let me just say this. Here's the other part of it, B, and then I'll let you have the final word on this. It's okay, and I often have to kind of even remind myself that the things that even if you are older, you say, I could have done these things younger. It's okay because age still has a value to it. Like, it's okay if you learned a certain skill set later on in life. It's okay.
Right.
You know, you don't have to be this. You know, by the time 21 come around, you have it all figured out. You got all these skills. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's okay to grow older rather, and say, you know what? Things are coming around for me at that time. I remember somebody told me, they said that you become your most successful self in your 40s. Now, according to this world that we live in, if you're not successful by the age of 25, you might as well call it quits. But that's not true. That's not true.
And who says that? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't even trust the sources of that information. You know what I mean? And so it's like, so we really have to be mindful of that. And because we're not monolith, you know, we have to be able to make space for the exceptions to the human rule.
Absolutely.
You know? And so there's this rule that we age in this particular way, and we learn in this particular step. Right. You know, there's that rule, and I don't know who set that up. You know what I'm saying? But every once in a while, we have an opportunity to defy that rule and see it accelerate. And so it's like, so hopefully we'll be able to peek back into her life in 7 years and see her and see her thriving. You know what I'm saying? And to feel her thriving work. You know what I'm saying? And that's real, you know? And so, but if her human condition is like any of ours, there will be some regrets of childhood parenting. The decisions of your parents always end up being thrown back into the parent's face when that kid turns 20 and 30. You know what I'm saying? Regardless of how great they rise or how far they fall, it's still gonna be, hey, yo, Ma and Dad, why you do this to me, and traumatize my whole life. You know what I'm saying? And so
that's all it is. You're right on.
Hopefully everybody will have a reality TV show by that point.
Right.
Because, you know,
Hey, look.
I'll be getting more contracts.
Right.
And, you know, everybody's life will be able to be seen by everybody.
Absolutely. And I love that point, because that's going to happen. And when we see these greatness, when we see our children exhibit so much greatness, we should surround them. We should protect them. We should making sure that they have a proper balance, right? And I always tell my son, this is the final point on this, folks, for me. I always tell my son, he's 9, my daughter's 3. I always tell him, son, don't rush to grow up. Enjoy your childhood. You only get a few years. God willing, you'll have way more years as an adult than you will a child. So then don't rush it. You want to, and I remember back in the day, we all went through that phase. Like, man, I can't wait to be an adult. I can't wait to be an adult. Shit.
And it sucks. Totally sucks. It sucks. No one, like, let's just be honest. Like, raise your hand if adulting sucks.
Like, adulting.
Yo.
Hey, yo, like some days I was like, I wish I was 13. Just like playing some video games. All you got to do is worry about your homework and who your friend is going to be next. Like, life was
That's it.
Man, this is
all I have to do is develop my personality.
Slow it down. What? Please, AB. Nah, don't rush that, son. You don't want this right now. You don't want this.
Don't do it.
This is real life here, buddy. This is real life.
Yep. My 6-year-old was crying this weekend because he was not 13.
Oh, please.
I'm like, are these real tears? I went, is this Negro? Is this water? No.
It's salt water, Bob. It's salt water.
No. No. I don't have them levels. You got to go work that out. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Don't rush your childhood. Hey, man, being a child is one of the great. If you had a decent childhood, a good childhood, y'all know being a child is one of the greatest experiences you can ever have. And
it really is.
And it's one of the healthiest things. If you had a decent, healthy childhood, you know that if it wasn't for those first few formative years, you would not be the adult that you are to deal with everything else.
Right.
But I'm telling you, don't to stop. Look, and I think this is just a big cultural thing for us as a people in our community. We want children to grow up so fast to take on the burdens of the adulthood, right? And I hate that now. We put bills in the name of children, and we do all of this other madness to make children grow up and be something that they aren't ready for. And we got to stop it. If nothing else, we got to change that culture. Let our children be children, and then let us do the adults and then try to figure this thing out. So there it is. Be fly.
There we are.
Always dope to have you. I'm so glad I could reconnect with you, sis. Always good. We appreciate you. Great work you're doing. The artistry, the intellect, the insight. You got anything that we need to be that we need to know very quickly, B, that you're doing?
Ooh, wow, Farajii.
Yeah. I always like to put up.
We got an album coming out.
Y'all got an album coming out. Okay.
We got an album
So what's the name of the album? And we'll dedicate some time next time to have you talk more about it. But you got something.
Yeah. So I'm approaching music in a different way this time, and we are releasing a trilogy, and so 3 songs. With 3 videos that should tell a very clear story. And
so we're excited. Look, I know it's going to be fire. Look, we're going to talk about it. You got this platform to share it and to pass the word. So we will certainly support you as much as we can to make sure that you get the proper recognition. Be fly.
Thank you so much.
I appreciate you for being so good for the culture.
Oh, gravy, Farajii.
Absolutely.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome.
Anytime.
All right. All right, folks, that's going to do it for me. I thank each and every one of you for being a part of the conversation. Man, I absolutely adore and love my culture crew, my online culture crew, man. Y'all are just dope, absolutely dope. Y'all check in, y'all there with me, you know, through all of the glitches and all of the ups and downs of making sure that this show happens in the best way possible. Y'all are still there. So each and every day, I truly, truly am grateful to all of you. So thank you. So this is why it's important that the Black Star Network continues to grow, to continue to do the great work that it has been summoned to do, which is to provide media, Black media, in a way that's unapologetic, totally intentional, and taking us to the next level of thought. So make sure you support Black Star Network at blackstarnetwork.com. Give as much as you can, but most importantly, let your friends and family know that that we are rocking and rolling. The app is free to download on any device that you have. And more importantly, folks, make sure that you share the videos and all the content like today's show to get people talking about the important issues that we talk about. All right. So check us out at blackstarnetwork.com. Stay tuned. Up next is Roland Martin Unfiltered at 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. As always, never be afraid to challenge what's wrong. Stand for what's right while being yourself in the process. God willing, we will talk tomorrow for another day and another exciting edition of The Culture right here on the Black Star Network. Talk to you soon, folks. Peace.